My mom got this skirt secondhand, but gave it to me because it wasn't really fitting her right, but it honestly doesn't fit me right either. I wear it, it's just like more slouchy than I want it to be. It like hangs just a little bit too low. I honestly think it probably feels weirder than it looks weird. How it feels is kind of the whole point, right? So I'm gonna fix it. I'm going to reduce the waistband, which is like, I feel like a very helpful thing to know how to do. And it's really not that hard. This is like one version of doing that. Sometimes you want to take that extra material out from the side seams, but in this case, I'm going to take it out from the darts in the back. Let's do it. I've clipped the amount that I know I need to take out. I'm measuring at the very top here. It's like not quite 1 1/4. All right, it's 1 1/4. Now, of course, that 1 1/4 is actually 2 1/2 across the whole piece, but assuming I take it from 2 different locations, I'd be taking 1 1/4 from each space. So I could take it from the side seams, but I think I want to take it from the back darts because I feel like it naturally felt like the back was where the extra material was, and perhaps that's why it was kind of falling towards the front, which I don't want. So I have 4 back darts, and I need to take out 2 1/2 inches in total. If I took out a little bit from each of those darts, that would be 5/8 of an inch, because 2 1/2 divided by 4 is 5/8 of an inch. To do that, though, I then need to divide that 5/8 of an inch in half, because I'm taking half of that from one side and half from the other, if that makes sense. We only see whatever that is, 1/4 of an inch, but we have 1/4 inch on this side and then a fold and 1/4 inch on this side. So that actually took up a 1/2 inch of fabric. I've unpicked all the key parts of my 4 back darts. Now I'm going to press everything nice and neat along the existing dart folds, but so that there's no longer that like bubble there, and I can more easily see where I want my new sew line to be. And then trying to find the natural place that this little connector facing wants to fold. So with those folded nice and neat, how does this kind of sit? And I think it's like that. So then I'll press that as well. So for all 4 darts, I've unpicked where the lining meets the facing and where the facing meets the main fabric, but I haven't unpicked the actual dart. So I'm going to turn it inside out, and I'm going to fold along one of my darts, so the way it was sewn essentially. I'll start with the main fabric. And the top of this main is the waist, and so that's the point at which we want to take in 5/16 of an inch. So right at the would-be sew line, the line that I just picked, I'm going to measure 5/16, which is 1/4 and a 1/16 is how I think about it. So this is 5/16 in from where the dart used to begin. And then I'm going to use my French curve, I think is what this is called, to connect that dot to the rest of the existing dart. You could do it with a regular ruler or just kind of eyeball it. Depending on how much you need to take in, a curve can be helpful, but if you just have a straight edge, do that and then just kind of smidge the line. So that's going to be my new sew line for that piece. And then I'll go over to my lining and my facing, which I'm going to consider together because it's the top of the facing where I want to reduce by that 5/16 of an inch, but then we want that to connect with the lining piece. So this is where it's sewn to the main piece, so that's the waist, and that's where I'll take in 5/16 of an inch. And then I'm just gonna And the important part here is that these are going to match up. So when this is sewn to here, it's going to be the same distance here, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew this new line connecting with the old dart line, this totally new line, and then this new line connecting with the old dart line. Okay, I have sewn this line, and this line. When I hold it like this, so that lining is next to facing, those seams match up pretty well. If they don't, then just go back to the sewing machine and sew a little bit more, or pick it out and sew a little less, and then come back to that line that you already did. So next I will pin these so that those seams match. And then I'm going to sew the facing to the main and the lining to the facing. Voila, this is fitting much better. It falls a little bit higher on my waist, which just feels more natural and comfortable for me. I'm a high-waisted girly. I don't care what the kids are saying.